Nothing could be finer than to take a win today in Lima. But will this be the price our NMRO All-Stars pay in order to sing that victory song? This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the All-Stars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we come to you from the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee, and this racing facility perhaps is best recognized as hosting the Ohio National AMA Motorcycle Championships, one of the major bike races every year. It's held on the last Saturday in June, but not today. It won't be the Harleys and the Hondas kicking up the dust. No, it is going to be the mud racing machines with a rooster tail inside this half-mile dirt oval. And standing by trackside is my colleague Army Armstrong at perhaps the most important piece of real estate at any mud racing event.
Gary, you're exactly right. And even though the track is 180 feet long, the story could well be told in the first 108 to 110 inches. That's the starting line area. The 108 and 110 is the normal wheelbase of these mud racers. But what happens, even though the mud is gooey soft in the middle, the starting line is relatively hard. The drivers are calling it like concrete. Well, what that does, it changes the whole complexity of the starting line tactics. You got to get off the line, but when the game is only 3 seconds long, you got to get off the line smooth. So what happens is, on a real hard starting line like this, you'll have a tendency to wing the engine, go way up high on the RPMs, and hurt yourself. If you do get off the starting line, there's another problem that could happen. That'll be about in the middle of the track where you get out and really start sticking the horsepower to the track. The front end of the vehicle will have a tendency to start lifting on you. So again, the track's 180 feet long, but the first 108 or first 110 inches could tell the whole story. But then again, you can't forget the middle either. Back to you, Gary.
And Army, today's competition will feature a who's who in mud racing. Gary Osteen, the Dirty Bird, Ron Pence and Tater, Tom Martin in Mud Patrol. And of course, don't forget, we also have Fred Wilhite in the Money Pit, and he is always a tough runner.
Well, Gary, each week on TNN, we get to see the evolution of this sport. These fellas are serious about this mud racing. NMRO's got a good set of rules. This is turning into a top-quality professional motorsport, and it's doing it quickly. And I think we're kind of helping it by putting these guys on television and letting people all over the country just see what real good mud racing is all about.
Near lane, Melvin Brown, the Blue Max. The far lane, Henry Mattingly. There's a look at Melvin. He's out of the state of Ohio. And there's a look at Henry out of Kentucky in the Magnum Force.
Downtown Brown. He's been around for a long time. He'll be in the blue vehicle close to us. Vehicle in the far lane, a 440 cubic inch Wedge Chrysler Hemi engine. First down the track. Let's see what the track is going to look like.
He got it up on top of the mud. A good run.
Brown's in town. Let's see what his time was.
2:86. An excellent ride for Melvin Brown at 2:86. We'll take a look there at Mattingly's 12:47. Not so good.
Well, Brown leaves a good lane behind him for the next guy to run in that lane because he stayed on top of the mud. Meanwhile, Mattingly got down in the mud, and I think we're going to develop some ruts over in that lane real quick, Gary.
Let's go down and talk to Melvin Brown. Army?
A 2.863, you were the first guy out of the box. Is that an advantage or disadvantage?
Oh, I think it's an advantage if it'll hold up, but I'd say there'd be some faster cars.
What about picking the front end out of the water like that? It looked like you're making horsepower all the way through.
Oh, yeah. I think I kind of shifted a little bit late, but it was still carrying the wheels when I shifted, so the motor was tuning. I thought it was a good pass, really.
And that grin would seem to indicate he was pleased with that pass as we look at the intruder. This is Tom Marsh. Marsh in the far lane out of Vandalia, Ohio, and he will pull alongside Dan Schlegel in Chatterbox in the near lane.
Marsh,
another Buckeye.
Yeah, Marsh runs a real unique gear. He likes to really get up in the far lane. He likes to really get a lot of wheel speed. Now, the time to beat's at 286. The vehicle closest to us, I'm not that familiar with, Gary. I haven't seen him run that much, but Marsh, I know, has a real top-end charge. Need I say more?
Yeah, he got up on top the mud right there. Had a good ride. Let's wait for his time. It is a 2:93. That is second quick right now, 2:93. The quick one is still 286, and there's Dan's 327. And as the competition continues, we take a look at the guy from Daytona Beach, Florida, the Dirty Bird, Gary Osteen. He's towed a long way for this competition.
But he likes coming up here. He runs a Ford supercharged engine combination out of the Daytona Beach, Florida area. He runs a shop down there, a machine shop. And he likes coming up and running against these old Chevrolet and Chryslers. He picked a good one to go against here, Gary.
Tony Farrell, the Blue Ribbon Bandit. He's from Milford, Indiana.
Tony comes out with a brand new vehicle. He's trying to get used to it. That's a vehicle in the far lane. Meanwhile, Osteen out of Florida, like a guy with an old pair of tennis shoes. You notice Tony had some problems on the starting line. He wasn't smooth, Gary. Osteen, meanwhile, comes out, turns a good number. That was a good, strong run. 285, that'll make Osteen quick of the day out of Florida. How long is it going to last? That's the big question.
But let's wait for Farrell's, too, because he had a very good run. Look at that, 284.
Didn't last very long,
The top three at 284, 85, and 86. So Farrell now, despite this tentative start, takes the lead at 284. Osteen goes second at 285. So let's go down and talk now with your new leader.
284, it looks like you're the guy to beat right now. Do you think that's going to hold up?
I don't know. There's a lot of cars behind me yet. We had a good pass, and I just hope it holds out.
Let's take another look now at that Osteen-Farrell run.
Farrell left early, but you watch him, he kind of lurches out. See, and then backs up the throttle, in the throttle out. But Osteen, man, when he goes, he's like a skydiver. There's no turning back.
Let's hear from Gary Osteen.
Gary, that must have been an awfully good run. You and the Blue Ribbon Bandit have 2 of the 3 quick times here today.
Yeah, it is. He's a very good runner, and so are we. We run tight all over the country. Tony's one of the nice guys around, and we had to put this Ford up front there somewhere anyway.
Well, there's a shot of Jeff Ballard in the Pork Brothers Express. We'll see him in action later on from Lima. Welcome back to the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio, as Ford Trucks present the Venda 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Series. I'm Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong, and we look at the Instant T with Chad Miller out of Tipp City, Ohio.
This kid is taking some ride. He has a bad tendency to lift the front wheels out of the ground. Meanwhile, he's going against George Divitek out of Indiana, and he's running a rear engine combination. He has another problem these other guys don't have. That's balancing the vehicle in the far lane to keep the front end on the ground.
Well, we know what the Instant T can do. He puts a good run. Hang on. Oh, George is upside down on the Hydra barriers. Upside down on top those water barriers.
The front end, when he got to mid-range, Gary, is what we're talking about in the opening of the show. When the horsepower started to hold onto the track, it just pulled the front end up and hooked him to the left.
It's always scary when one of these racers get upside down in the mud itself, because the mud can actually get up inside the cockpit, inside the helmet. Looking for some movement now from inside that cockpit. The emergency crew right there, of course, you can see the car totally upside down.
Yeah, a complete emergency crew always goes to the jamborees. They're good people to work with. We'll give you an update. A replay comes up on the screen. Now watch when the horsepower sticks, you can tell. Right now, he's making horsepower.
You talk about the car not being balanced. It veers off to the left, climbs up, and rolls over. Fortunately, a lot of the energy had been absorbed before the car actually turned upside down.
Yeah, by the ODOC safety barrier system, and that's what they're for.
And there is George about to be righted on his feet. A quick wave with the glove still in his hand. Kind of knocking the cobwebs out of the brain right now. But he is okay. I'll look one more time.
He doesn't really pull the front end out. That's what's so, I guess the front end just gets really light. See, because he's not turning the wheels to the right at all. He's going straight into the barrier.
Well, once again, the barrier absorbs a lot of the energy before the car actually rolled over. We take one more look, and you can see it come to a stop upside down. But fortunately, George is okay. He has walked over and hooked up with Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, as you can see right now, George is involved with the EMTs. They're filling out some paperwork. It's every time something happens, there's paperwork involved. But these safety people are really sharp on the ball. They're taking care of things. He is okay. Got all his faculties and everything. We checked with his crew. They said he's all right. A lot of damage to the vehicle is that are taking care of it behind. But George is okay. He'll be back another time, another day. Back to you, Gary.
Well, you can see the damage there as they're trying to right that rear engine vehicle. You can also see the damage absorbed by the Hydra barriers. We're coming back with more from Lima, Ohio. Welcome back to the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio. The aftermath of a grinding crash, but the driver is okay, and he is standing by with Army Armstrong.
George, it looked like a violent accident. Are you okay?
Actually, in the car is very calm. The cage is real tight. I didn't even bounce around it.
EMT's right on the spot, a good chassis. You knew it was kind of a dangerous sport going in, but everybody's doing everything they can to make it as safe as possible. I'm glad you're okay. Do you have any idea what caused the accident?
The man on the line said the steering let go as soon as the wheels picked up. He says there was no steering, and I think he's right because it went to the barricades and there was nowhere to go.
What do you think of these safety barricades now?
I love them. I love them barricades. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, as we take a look at the current standings, Tony Farrell on top at 284. Look at this cluster. 285 is Gary Osteen, and 286 is Melvin Brown. You cannot bat your eyes that fast, Army.
With Chad Miller strong in a program with the 292, Gary.
Yeah, and here's a look at the money pit. Fred Wilhite. I tell you, he is one to be reckoned with. There's Fred out of Decatur, Illinois.
You know, you were talking a while ago about how quick I could bat my eyes. I wouldn't have to. I would shut my eyes if I was doing this. Jerry Schofield comes out from Ohio with the Whiplash 23 Roadster.
Time to beat at 284. Turned in a little earlier. And I'll tell you, this Wilhite could do it. Gets it up on top of the mud. Looks like a good run to me. Let's wait for the official time.
Bingo!
There it is, 264. Fred Wilhite now climbs to the top of the leaderboard, and Jerry turns in a 312.
Boy, I can't believe that money pit. He has found something that is really, well, he's just getting up on top of the mud. Watch the replay. See, he doesn't bog at all. He's up top.
Fastest 48 Fiat in the country. And here's the driver, Fred Wilhite.
2647 drawn in the middle of the field. That tells me the track might be going back together.
I found a good path down through there. There was some ruts down through the center and stuff, and I hugged the right real tight. Went straight, stayed in my lane, felt good.
Wilhite with a 264, so the pit is in the money.
A little play on words there, Gary Lee. Speaking of another guy that usually winds up in the money, here he comes. Ron Pence goes by the name of Tater. 1,800 horsepower supercharged Chevrolet engine. It's got some kind of trick gear in there that really makes it work. Gets a lot of wheel speed. Now he's in the far lane. Who's he going up against in the near lane, Gary?
Terry Morawski in the hidden heartbeat. So Ron Pence, I tell you, he may take a shot at that 264.
That's a strong possibility.
He'll get that little Chevy Love truck up on top of that mud, put the hammer down.
No, he just wasn't able to
Not
get the
today,
mile an hour.
not today. A 326, he'll not be too pleased with that. Not at all.
The motor just didn't. A 523 in the other lane for Kerry. The motor just never seemed to come up and make horsepower for him.
Well, as we take a look at the starting line, look at this creation, Speed Demon. And that is Craig Foz out of Decatur, Illinois, and he pulls alongside the Port Brothers Express of Jeff Ballard.
You're going to see two different philosophies here at what a mud racer should be. Jeff Ballard, a traveling pro, runs an underslung chassis out of Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Meanwhile, the Speed Demon in the other lane, fiberglass replica of a Ford Mustang. Ballard looking strong, flexing his muscle, goes through and stops the timers on the big end with a 311, Gary. He will not be a player for the top three, though.
311, and we take a look at Craig's 470. Now let's take a look at some highlights from early on in today's competition. Roger Sherwood out of Niles, Michigan, and Stressed Out.
He drew the lane closest to the camera, laid down a good shot.
That's Kevin Stone in the Heat Is On in the far lane.
We get a little bit of smoke coming out of the vehicle, a transmission problem. Now he's got a fuel problem.
He's got an engine fire right there, too, and he's in no big hurry to get out of the cockpit right now. I think I'd be bailing out in a hurry.
I think
now he
yeah.
sees the flames and perhaps feels the heat, and he does bail out. In other action, Mike Camella in Bonkers, the near lane. Bob Monk in the Mud Stud in the far lane.
Well, Monk had his hands full, getting over, just tagging the barriers, not doing any damage, but not getting the time that he wanted.
Mike Hickerson, near lane, Mind Games. Brett Schmidt in the Blaster.
Hickerson in 23 Roadster goes at 09. Schmidt in the 27 Roadster goes at 312, Gary.
Well, once again, Fred Wilhite in the money pit presently leads with a 264 clocking. We'll come back for more side-by-side competition here in Lima, Ohio. Stay with us. Welcome back to Lima, Ohio, where Ford Trucks present the Penda four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals, a part of the BF Goodrich Performance Series. These Jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover as well as the entire family. To find out when a Jamboree will be in your area, call or write the Special Events Promotion Company. Some of the handiwork going on here in the show and shine area. And looking on with great interest, Fred Wilhite. He leads right now, and he has to dodge several bullets, including one from Tom Martin, who is now standing by with Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, if there's such thing as a worst-case scenario, it may be being the last guy in this field today. The field is so tough. Who's the last guy in the field? Tom Martin. What's unique about that? He's going to be the last guy in line with a brand-new vehicle that's never been down the track. Now, Tom, you've made a lot of changes here. Being at the back of this field, is that going to affect the way you're going to drive, or is we going to see a full shot?
Well, we're going to see a full shot, but the car's detuned a little bit. I don't want to take a chance on crashing it. We're going to go out there and run as hard as we can, being safe. You know, we can only do so much.
They keep talking about the technology of all forms of motorsports. This looks similar to the other car, but I understand there's quite a few changes. I'm not going to ask you specifically what they are, but is there a lot of technology in mud racing that people are not aware of?
Oh, there's a lot of technology. You know, the motors we changed where the motor location is, the four-link setup, shock, springs, axle, wheelbase. There's a lot of technology, and it's just experimental right now.
We will see Tom momentarily, but right now, two more drivers with a shot at that 264 clocking. Neil Smith, the American Thunder, and Jim Carr in Never Satisfied.
Yeah, both of these fellows can be players. You know, Gary, I guess one of the most popular body styles for the over 100-inch wheelbase vehicle is the 23 Ford Roadster body, like they used to run in drag racing, but I don't know why. It seems like they would want to get something that would protect them from the mud.
Well, Army, the more the body, the more area for the mud to hang on to, meaning more weight at the end of the run.
So a full body will collect more mud
Certainly.
and hurt you. Okay, weight is your worst enemy as far as speed. All right, I learned something, folks. Hope you all did too.
Don't hold me to it. That's just a theory.
No, it sounds logical, but I can see why. Oh, that's a good race, Gary.
Good run by both lanes. Let's check the time. Jimmy Carr at 280. That will put him in second position. And a 342 for Neil Smith. But right now, Army standing by with our leader, Fred Wilhite.
Right now, your 264 is keeping you alive. Is it going to stay that way? There's a couple more bullets coming after you.
Nobody hopes it stays alive any more than me.
You put the name money on a car this week. Is that an indication this might be the week you take the money home?
Well, you drawed me to put the money pit back together like it was, so I'm going to leave it like that and see if it keeps me going good.
All right, as we take a look at the Mud Patrol, this is Tom Martin, one of the final two bullets with a shot at a 264 clocking.
Now, Martin rolls out with the new combination, trying to get a balance. Gary, he's moved the engine forward about 6 or 8 inches, trying to get the vehicle to balance out. Meanwhile, in the other lane, fellas running a full body, he's going to be giving away a little bit of a disadvantage because he'll be packing in the weight. That'll be Keith Mitchell out of Pennsylvania with the Mudgician.
And there is Fred Wilhite. He's taking a look at the numbers right now. He has to endure one more pass by these two drivers to see if that 264 clocking will hang on to take the win here in Lima, Ohio.
And I'll guarantee you he's sweating BBs right now because Martin's bad enough to go barehunting with a switch. He knows it.
A good run for Martin. Let's check it and see if it's fast enough. No, it's not a 277. That is quick enough for second place to a 403.
All right.
All right, way to go. Way to go.
Dodged a bullet, but you know, congratulations. You've had your share of bad luck. A lot of interviews you and I have done. You've had a lot of mud on you in the car, a lot of damage, but I think persistence paid off for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, I can't quit now. All the luck, I know what not to do.
Let's take a look now at the final standing, showing once again Fred Wilhite, the money pit, on top at 264. Tom Martin goes second at 277. And Jimmy Carr rounds out the top three at a 280. So let's go back once again trackside and talk now with Tom Martin. Army?
Ooh, my heart's still pumping.
Oh, well, Tom, let me grab you real quick. A brand new vehicle. Man, you got to be tickled to death with that.
I'm real tickled. You know, we never even had the motor turned up, and my heart's pumping so fast right now because I was scared. I didn't know what it was going to do, and I'm just happy for all the guys helping me, like Castrol and Van Santis Auto Parts and M30, and if I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry. Kicker Speakers helps me, and it's been great.
Yeah, Tom Martin finishes second. There's Fred Wilhite. He takes the victory today. It's a tough day of racing. George Devitek had a violent wreck, but he's okay. Good efforts by Tony Farrell and Gary Osteen. But Fred Wilhite in the money pit will collect all the first place money. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.
Here's another dramatic classic from Diamond P. It's And They Walked Away 3. That's right. By calling 1-800-792-6464, you get the latest installment of this all-time best-selling series, capturing motorsport's most perilous moments yet. Stock cars tangle and tumble on the oval high banks. Drag racers experience terrifying infernos. Sprint cars dance too close and pay the consequences, and much more. And in each breathtaking incident, the driver beats the odds. To order with credit card, call 1-800-792-6464 or send check or money order for $24.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address in your screen. That's 1-800-792-6464. And while you're ordering, pick up on the Trucks and Tractor Power t-shirt. The design features monsters, mud, and pulling right from the TV show. Call 1-800-792-6464.